Welcome back to Behind the Bell, the podcast from the International Trombone Festival. Today's episode was so much fun to record. I'm joined by the brilliant Alain Trudel. We talk about how it all began for him on valve trombone and how his early start shaped the way he hears and approaches music. Alain shares how he navigates his multifaceted career, shifting seamlessly between roles as a trombone soloist, conductor and composer, and the mindset it takes to do all with such artistry and clarity. It's an energising, insightful and fun conversation. Here is Alain Trudel. Just a quick one before this episode starts. If we could ask a favour from you, please could you just go and hit the follow button on your app. It really helps this show to grow, and in return we'll keep bringing you amazing guests. Thank you and enjoy this episode. Well, thank you, Alain, so much for joining me. So we haven't seen each other since about 2017-ish. Yeah. In Banff, and you were conducting.
Yes.
At Brass Ensemble, where we played Alpine Symphony.
Alpine Symphony for brass.
It was so good though, wasn't it?
It was good. You guys were great.
Oh, it was so
the best seat in the house.
Well, yeah. And there's a video on YouTube of it as well.
I think so. I believe so. Yeah, you can see it from Banff. I think Jens Lindemann put it on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, there was... who were the players we had?
Marty Hackelman was playing the horn.
Yeah.
I know Jens was there. Ryan.
Jens Lindemann. Ryan on trumpet,
Yeah.
And then first trombone. Oh, James from...
James Miller.
Jim Miller from LA, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
musician.
that was fantastic.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah.
A lot of fun. So, I mean, I'd love to cover how you came into being a conductor.
Okay.
But obviously it starts with the trombone.
Yes, of course.
Yes? How come the trombone?
Well, I didn't pick the trombone like many trombone players. The trombone picks us. So it's like the hat in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So yes, I got Gryffindor. So I, coming from a very modest economic situation, I went into play in the brass band of my neighborhood in Montreal, here in Canada, and. I went in, and what was available, of course, I wanted to play drums like everybody, then trumpet, whatever, and then they say they're all gone, trombone, valve trombone. So I played valve trombone. So I started on valve trombone when I was 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did that for about 3 years.
And was that just because it was available, or?
It's because the neck of the person in front of me. So we just did parades. And they did put the trombones in front, like a lot of the marching band. So what we did is we did a lot of parades. We didn't play classical music, really. We played like disco, the Bee Gees, all kind of rock and roll music, all kinds of things. So we played that, very popular at the time, right? So we played that, and we did parades. We played bingo, Remember those with the smoke with everybody sounding like Homer Simpson sisters-in-law, like that. So they loved that, and it was a great way to be together with other kids my age. And also not to be in the streets, because when you're a teenager, if you don't find something, when you become a parent, you understand that, right? If you don't find something to occupy your teenager, they will occupy themselves. Yeah. It's not always good. So it was good. I went with some of my friends who actually got the trumpets and the drums, and I was the number 3 in the line, and I got the trombone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And what was it about the trombone that made you go, yeah, I'm going to stick with this?
Well, for the first year, not much, because it wasn't a great instrument either. It was, not even municipal, it was from our neighborhood, and it was everybody was donating things. So we got a valve trombone that was of this qualité discutable, we would say in French. The quality was not maybe great. So I don't know if it's because I was bad or the horn wasn't great. So, okay. As brass players, it's always the fault of the horn, right?
Yeah,
or the mouthpiece,
Yeah. Wrong equipment. Yeah.
Yes, of course. And it took about a year. I mean, I was very. I like being with everybody. I like music a lot. Both my parents were musicians, but they were not active musicians when I was older. They were jazz musicians, but the jazz scene really died off in Montreal in the 60s and 70s with the advent of pre-recorded music, right? So my dad was a jazz drummer. He played 4 shows a day until the pre-recorded music, it was there, but until it was available in all the clubs. And my mother was an MC and a singer also, cabaret singer. So I think it comes a little bit from there, not because we did it at home, You know, I live with my mother, and she wasn't a singer anymore. But maybe it's in the genes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a lot of fun. I was with my friends. We played. We had a nice time. How to learn to collaborate together also. You know, when they cut music in school, it's like the worst thing they can do, because you learn how to collaborate, how to be patient, and how to be nice to other people. I mean, it's you learn everything by playing music together.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's...
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not talking about that today. So
Well,
it's okay.
no, but you learn life skills that even if you don't carry on with music, you learn, I don't know, like you say, teamwork.
Yeah. Well, we see kids in school now, a big problem that they have, even in, second, third, fourth grade, that to control their emotions. And we need to control our emotions all the time, right? Because when you play concerts or when you have we live a lot with, how do you say, deception sometimes, when you're not chosen, or to control when you're too happy, or, just to make sure that everything is, well in control. Kids don't learn that, and you learn that in sports and in music.
Yeah.
And that's very important. So, and in music, it's interesting because it's also very cerebral, and it's your soul as well. So mix the two together can be conflicting, and at that age, and when you become a teenager, it's worse, right? So if you can learn how to control those, not your sentiments, but the outbursts that could happen, that's something that you see a lot of violence happening, and because kids don't learn to control their emotions like that. And I'm not saying not to have emotion, I'm just saying, sometimes you need to keep it in check. Sometimes it's time to come out. And in music, you have lots of opportunity to let your emotions out.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway.
that brings it back to me thinking I was soloing with the National Youth Brass Band in the UK. And when I wasn't on stage, it was during the concert, a packed hall, and all the parents there watching their children play, and they're all sort of teenagers. And when I wasn't on stage with them, I went out the front of the front of house to be able to watch the concert. And as I was walking around, I noticed outside there were kids of the same age in a fight on the street.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, well, there's kids here that are learning music instrument and the best their ability in the National Youth.
Yeah.
And then there's kids outside on the street of the same age.
We had regularly, it's really interesting. None of them were professional. The people who were our instructors in that brass band, they were called Les Rythmiques de Montréal. But they loved music, and one of them was a policeman. One of them, he started a community police around there. One an engraving, trophy engraving shop. Another one an ice cream parlor. I mean, but they loved music. They would go. They would drive to Chicago. They would drive to New York to hear the great players and to have lessons. So they just loved it, right? So they came back. They gave that love of that to us. But maybe it's with the policeman that started that. But we had little camps on the weekend where the kids were actually. We had a little breathing exercise, and then we had moments where we told each other little, not secrets, but being a group that you trust, in a circle of trust, if you want, then you can feel trustworthy of the other people, that you can say a few things that you wouldn't say at home sometimes. So it became more than just a musical group,
Yeah.
So it was very, very, very great for me. I did that for 3 years. Then I auditioned for the Conservatoire. So I bought a slide. I went to Twig Music in Montreal, and I said, I'd like to buy a slide. They said, what, a slide? To put with the valve trombone.
And then you get to stand at the front of the parade.
Yeah, and then it rains. Okay, no. So I started playing with this. I wasn't very good because I never played slide trombone. Yeah. But I auditioned the Conservatoire. I had good range. I think that's why they took me. And they made me promise I'd practice a certain amount of hours a day. And I said, yeah, I'll do everything. There were free music lessons for me. I was like, I couldn't afford music lessons. So I said, I'm going. So I went, and I got lucky, got in, and then it started to go a little quicker, a little bit.
I mean, you made your solo debut with Montreal Symphony Orchestra at age 18.
Yes, yeah.
So, I mean,
I was playing the orchestra for a year about then. They had an international audition when I was 17, and I made the finals. Actually, it was interesting. We had 85, 90 people at the audition, which nowadays is not that much. But anyway, still, live audition. It's still a lot for a live audition. And 2 finalists from Montreal. And the other one is Dave Martin. Shout out, Dave. Okay.
Cool.
And we each had a week, but I was 17. I mean, I was lucky I didn't have a week that it wasn't working, because at that age, you really don't know what you're doing, right? Yeah. So, well, some do, but I didn't. I mean, it was going well or not so well. But it wound up okay. And then I did the solo competition of the MSO, and I played the Franck Martin Ballade de Charles Dutoit and the symphony. Yes.
That's so amazing. What was that experience like?
Controlling emotions again. Yeah. Well, actually, I figured out that, the only thing you control is your preparation.
Yeah.
So if you prepare as well as you can, then, it should go okay. So I was able to play it 5 times in a row. So I said, I can probably play it once, by being very nervous. Because you can't always... Well, you can. Sometimes I had students, when I was a teacher after that, the conservatoire, I had my teacher run up and down the stairs to come and go like, to simulate that. But you never simulate the emotion all that much, but you can try, Yeah. So I did a lot of that, a lot of visualization. I did a lot of that. And that helped a lot, so I had a good time, because I felt I was ready. Yeah. Still, but you have to be in control. Not, even now, I mean, it's been decades. I still have to focus, make sure that you have everything in check, you're well prepared, and then you should have a good time. Yeah, because the day of is not the time to prepare.
No, exactly. I mean, when I'm teaching at a conservatoire in the UK, where I actually studied, and I remember watching some trumpet recitals when I was sort of a first year, second year, and there was a heat wave. So the trumpet, there's no aircon in the concert hall, and the trumpet players were really struggling on the day of the trumpet recitals, and I just mentally remember that.
I took a note.
And then sort of, 2 years later, 3 years later, when I was rehearsing my final recital program, part of the building, you could go into practice rooms and change the temperature. Mm-hmm. So I turned the temperature right up.
Good idea. Yeah.
And put lots of clothing on so that I was going to prepare for a heat wave. Yeah. And then I, like you played the Martin Ballade 5 times through. I played my program 3 times through. Yeah. And then I thought, well, if I can do that, exactly. I can do it once. Yeah.
Well, and whatever is going to come at you that you didn't think of, that you can't control, you can at least control how you're going to react for things that come at you, right?
Exactly.
So you can say, well, in your mind, you say, well, I probably deserve to play well because I prepared very well. I probably deserve to play well because I can play many times in a row. I mean, it's...
exactly. Like you say, it's, as long as you're prepared.
That's the only thing you control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by S.E. Shires. S.E. Shires has been setting the standard in brass instrument craftsmanship and innovation since 1995. Headquartered in Holliston, Massachusetts, the instruments built in our workshop have helped shape the sound of brass music for decades. Known for their rich tone, effortless response, and incredible clarity, S.E. Shires trombones deliver the flexibility and power serious musicians demand. Each instrument is meticulously crafted to inspire excellence because that's what today's trombonists deserve. Explore the Custom Series, the ultimate option for brass players who demand the very best from their equipment. These instruments are the pinnacle of craftsmanship, quality, and performance. Discover the Q Series, offering Shires performance and power at an approachable price. And new this year, the A Series, bringing the Shires sound to students and educators like never before. S.E. Shires trombones are masterfully built and uniquely yours. Visit seshires.com or stop by our booth at an ITF to find the horn that's built for you. This podcast is brought to you by Greg Black Mouthpieces. Greg Black Mouthpieces is proud to support the 2025 International Trombone Festival as a gold sponsor. It's always a special time attending ITF and seeing our friends gather from around the world. And we're delighted to announce a wonderful new partnership with our newest retailer in Canada, Long & McQuaid. We're excited to grow our relationship with Canada's largest music store, who shares in our longtime passion of helping musicians find the best equipment to express their art form. To find out more about Long & McQuaid or any of our other retailers, please visit gregblackmouthpieces.com and be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for all the latest news and updates. Behind the Bell is sponsored by C Sharp Editions. Whether you're looking for a piece to add to your next solo recital, trombone quartet concert, or trombone choir program, C Sharp Editions has you covered. Recent additions to the catalog include Chris Sharp's Denton Sonata for tenor trombone and piano, Brandon Merville's Chrome Heart for bass trombone and piano, and John Fannon's Legacy Fanfare for 6 trombones. You can also find old favorites like Apogee Fanfare, In Their Gentle Presence, and The Secret City, available exclusively on the C Sharp Editions website. C Sharp Editions is currently offering listeners of Behind the Bell an exclusive discount. Head to csharpeditions.com, CSHARPE editions.com, and enter code ITF15 at checkout to receive 15% off your next order. That's ITF15 at csharpeditions.com. Today's episode is sponsored by Hickey's Music. At Hickey's Music, we've been servicing the needs of musicians since 1892. We've become known for our vast library serving as a go-to resource for music directors and soloists the world over. And in the last 35 years or so, Hickey's has become known as the go-to resource for all things trombone and brass. We carry all the literature, we routinely keep in stock all the accessories and replacement parts for your instrument, and we have a selection of horns available for audition and purchase. Mostly, however, we have something that is becoming even more rare: personal service. We do not employ AI, we only use HI, human intelligence. When you contact Hickey's, you get real people. We strive to handle your requests and help you succeed as a player, a teacher, and a musician. Visit hickeys.com. We'd love to make you our next fan of Hickey's.
Were there any sort of pivotal mentors that early sort of shaped your career?
Yes, I had the greatest mentor in my high school. When I was in... So for us here in Canada, we do, in Quebec, we do 6th grade of an elementary school, and then we do secondary, like a high school, 5 of those. And then you go to a thing that's called Cégep, and then you go to university, or in conservatoire could be anywhere, and there if you're a musician. So when I was in high school, my last 2 years of high school, I changed school for a school that's called Joseph-François Perrault, and it's a school that they were starting a music program that's now a huge concentration music program that has about 800 students in music. So it's a public school. It's a big thing here.
That's amazing.
Yeah. There are 2 schools like that. There's Saint-Luc and there's Joseph-François Perrault. They each have about between 700, 800, 1,000. There are a lot of students that take music. They have very different missions, but they're really great schools. So I went there, and at that time, it was the beginning. We were 30, so it's not as many. But the teacher there, I had 2 teachers. One that taught us music appreciation, the choir, we did chorale, and anything that connects to actually playing an instrument, but not playing an instrument. So Gérald Maclay, still alive, is fantastic. And Monsieur Grignet, Raymond Grignet was the conductor of the orchestra. Because there was an orchestra and a band, so and everybody played 2 instruments. Anyway, it was very interesting, and he looked out after me, and he was very hard on me. I would come in at 7. We had I think band in the morning, and then school, and then at noon we had sectionals of different things, and after school we had orchestra. So, and that was the whole week. It was quite a good program. Again, he stayed busy as a teenager, no problem.
Yeah.
And the first week I was there, he said, Trudel, you hear high, you play flat. So he would send me to a studio, and I would spend all my mornings. And those old stroboscope tuner that have 3 things that you have to line up.
Oh, yeah.
And every note you play. So I did that every morning for a long time until he got me in the orchestra. He accepted the band. He accepted me. And after that, he became a real mentor, even to the point, because he had a real career. He was a very old man. He was in the Second World War, electrician. He's a French man in the French army. I don't know, maybe La Résistance, who knows? but he was him and his brother, they were there. So, and he was clarinet player, very, very fine clarinet player. Wind up coming to the States, playing in Cincinnati in the opera and the orchestra. Wind up coming to Canada to teach, and fell in love and stayed there. And for all of you that come to Canada, you understand you will fall in love with Canada and stay here, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So, and he stayed, and so it was actually somebody who had a career. Somebody who knows what it is to be a professional. So that's why it was a little bit harder on the ones that were good. So there's a lot of people from the Montreal Symphony that come from that high school. There's a lot of players that Orchestre Métropolitain. I mean, it's very successful. And he was a mentor to me. Even after, when I got married, he said, "You're going to need a house. I will sell you my house." And there was it was like ridiculous. All my life, he followed me. He was the greatest guy. Raymond Grignet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's almost like a father figure in a way.
Absolutely, yeah, because his father wasn't home. So, and that's not because he was a drummer. Sorry.
And then sort of going fast forward a little bit. So you've premiered quite a few sort of contemporary works as well. What is it that draws you to sort of contemporary?
Well, it's interesting. if I go back to high school, I wanted to be a composer. And so I always had the scores with me. And when we had orchestra rehearsal, of course, that guy I was talking about, he didn't know I wanted to be a composer, so he said he wanted to conduct. So I wound up conducting every week. So I got podium time from the age of 15.
Oh, wow.
So that's why conducting is normal. It's not bizarre.
I was going to say, when did that come?
Yeah, that came around that time, but also writing music. So the other teacher, Mr. Mackley, I would bring to him compositions I would write to him, and he would give me appreciation, very encouraging. He would say, "Oh, it's coming along. It's good." He never said it was bad or good, but he never said it was bad, and it was quite bad sometimes. And he said, "Oh, it's coming." So I got an interest for composing very young, but of course, first time you hear a Mahler or something like that, you say, okay, Beethoven, the greatest, But then you start liking the music because of the composer, not because of being somebody on stage playing a piece. It's not that. It's the piece that's played. For us, we're just interpret, right? We're translating the notes on the page for the public because they don't speak that language, so they can hear it, and it's beautiful. But our job is very simple and very humble, right? Because that's all we do. So the composers are the real, wow, they're the geniuses. So I was always very curious about how they work like that, and started to learn more and more music, and starting to learn music that's more of our time, more curious. And I got into spectrum music, liked it very much. Then even before that, the first time you hear a piece by Bartok, you go nuts, right? You go like, whoa, What's after that, You hear some Shostakovich, but then you hear something that's more, up to Darmstadt school, and then some, Stockhausen and all that, and then got really interested, and I got really lucky that I was able to commission composers.
Wow. And who? Give us a list.
Pascal Dussapin is a very French composer, everyone knows. Jacques Etu, great composer. Malcolm Forsyth, also Alexina Louis. Anyway, it's many composers.
It's just amazing. So what would you say would be the biggest challenge when you're sort of shifting between roles as soloist, conductor, composer?
As a conductor, the hardest thing was to be accepted. Because I came from the brass section and the low brass section. Hey, you go on the podium, you're starting to say, well, he's not a violinist. Yeah. You always get he's a brass player, he's a trombone player.
Isn't that crazy?
It's quite unpleasant. But play it cool and just show that you can do it, you can do the job, you can be not only efficient, but meaningful, to do something that's good. And then they accept you little by little. You have to do one job, another job. Now, I mean, to be invited, a career is not to be invited, right? A career is to be re-invited. Yes. So, kind of a lot of people, especially in our days, right? You do a little video, a little something, you get one concert somewhere. But the career is the years that, if you can have 30, 40 years, you can call it a career. If you go a bunch of places once and they go like, oh, okay, thank you, then you have to get the hint, Yeah. But luckily enough, I got re-invited many places. I was actually music director of the orchestra in this town for a few years, yeah.
In London?
Yeah. And I was the conductor of the opera and the symphony of the school here for a few years when I was here before I went to the States.
Amazing. So do you think your sort of early conducting experiences, sort of age 15, by that point is just completely natural to you?
100% getting podium time at 15, even if it's 5 minutes a week, it doesn't matter. Because the problem is that, by the time the baby conductors get to conduct, they're like 20, 21, something like that. You're in school, university, and if you're pretty good, they give you the podium around 20. They say, okay, go. But by that time, all the violinists in the orchestra have at least 10 years with their instrument, and you have 1 hour, 1 day with your instrument. So it's like, and of course they're going to be there and they're going to say, well, rightfully so, but at the same time, it's not fair, but it's not their fault, So it's, and when you're a conductor, you're supposed to know the repertoire very well, the instruments well, what everybody's doing, what everybody should be doing. And if you start young, so the fact of having podium time very young, it really helped a lot.
Yeah. So how has sort of being a trombonist helped to shape your sort of perspective in conducting and composing?
A very interesting question. I thought to myself, what's the difference between a trombone player, a conductor, and a violinist? And you hear the sound of the orchestra is different too, because we hear the sound from the inside. Yeah. We hear the harmony. Very often trombone players are arrangers, composers, in the band. We're always a jack of all trades, And at the end of it, then you know a bit more about harmony. You know more about the writing, how the work is actually fabricated, how the music is done. And it gives you that kind of insight. We also play very far in the back of the orchestra. We have an idea of what a distance means between the podium and the last row of the orchestra. It's the second last row behind the percussion, right? In front of the percussion. So we know what this means too, and how to put things together. I think that's very helpful, but you do have to pay your dues and learn about strings a lot. When I was conducting, when I was conducting the CBC Radio Orchestra, I also took a job to conduct, which sounds funny, at the Toronto Symphony Youth Orchestra. I mean, the symphony is just like a BBC orchestra. I mean, it's a big orchestra. It was the last one in America before the conservative government cut it, but that's something else. But I said I need to know more about strings all the time. So I stayed 8 years with Toronto Symphony Youth Orchestra, one of the greatest youth orchestra. I mean, we play Mahler symphonies and Stravinsky and all. So it's not the typical youth orchestra.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and I learned a lot. I just want to stay there and do music camp. And you have to be curious. You have to want to know. You have to have the humility of asking questions when you don't know. Just don't feel I should know, so I'm not going to say anything. Just don't play a game. Just really learn.
Oh, that's amazing advice for sort of a young conductor. That's
hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know from experience of when you stand at the front of an orchestra playing a concerto, suddenly you hear so much more. Mm-hmm. It's like, from the back of the orchestra, you don't hear what the first violins are doing. And when the part divisi and then you get the second violins and how it all fits together, you don't hear that from the back.
It's a lot. I mean, if you come as a brass player, you really have to do your classes. You have to study a lot. You have to spend years making sure that you understand, the different strokes. And there's a difference in them, right? But there's subtle differences. So when you start asking that, and that's why when I say string players, they see a brass player on the podium, often they say, "Oh, what do you know about violin?"
Yeah.
That's why I said they're right in a way,
Yeah.
But if you do what you're supposed to do, eventually it all works out.
Yeah, and I guess the conducting and composing can sort of go hand in hand then. So you're learning about the instrument so much.
Definitely.
I mean, my brother's a cellist, so whenever I've had any string questions for arrangements, I go to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's handy to be able to just ask questions. How has your learning evolved as both a teacher and a conductor?
Learning. Well, that's the only way to teach. You know what? First time I was giving some master classes in Japan. Okay, I was there with Yamaha and Hamamatsu, the big festival they had. First time I went, I was maybe 23, 24. You're young, you think you know everything, right? And I say, well, this works for me. And I was trying to teach there's some problem with breathing. I said, well, I'll give you an example and you should do this and that. They weren't getting it at all, And I said, well, how come they're not getting it? I mean, they should get it. I'm like, it never crossed my mind. Well, it did cross my mind after a few days that maybe I wasn't teaching it properly. Or maybe I was, because it worked here. Teaching it in North America, there's certain way that kind of thing. But when I was there, actually, I kept banging my head. And when I went back to my room and said, what's wrong? First day, I was all full of ego, saying, well, they don't understand. And then the second day, I said, okay, I'm the problem here. So I went back, how could I change it? How could I? And I tried a bunch of examples. So I said, I'm going to come 20 different examples, 10 different examples. And one that really worked was, it's like there's water, and then you have a sponge, you go, so you got to, and all of a sudden that worked, which is different, Then I learned something, right? So I thought, that was quite early, right, in my 20s. So I said that I had a big example of saying the fail was me. It was not the student. So I said, okay, I have to try to see how to teach properly, to learn how to teach every student differently. And then you teach yourself, right? Yeah. Because then you get better and you're like, oh, well, I'll use that tip maybe. Yeah. I have students that come back to me because, I don't play so much anymore, right? I like to play. I love trombone. I love playing. No, I really do.
Playing because just the most amazing trombone player. So
I love to, but sometimes I go 3, 4, 5 months stretch because there's so much to conduct. I have 2 orchestras, and when you're music director, it's not just the concerts. It's especially here in the continent, it's to raise money. So especially especially marks in the U.S. because it works differently, right? In Canada, there's subsidies that you can. It's a little bit more like Europe, but in the States, you really have to work very hard, and people really do give. They give a lot, you know. And they say, but it's a different system, so you have to spend a lot of time meeting people, which I love. I love talking. I love meeting people. It's great, but it takes time. Yeah. So you finish your day, and you're gonna. Do I have like 20 minutes in me? Yeah, maybe I have 20 minutes. You do some slurs and you say, I sound really bad. I do more tomorrow. So before this is very tough for me because I said, yeah, okay, I'll play the recital. I'm like, oh no. So I've been practicing a lot the last month.
So, I mean, how do you prepare for an international trombone festival? You got a recital coming up, and how do you do it? How are you going to fit it in? Well,
first of all, you have to be a little brainless to say yes. So I said, yeah. I go, oh, okay, I'll do it. Well, I've done many, right? It's like my 10th or something like that. So, but it's been a while. I haven't done one in maybe 9 years, something like that. Wow. I think the last one I did was Valencia, but I'm not sure. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And but, you know, I play concerts, but still, it's not like when I used to play 100 concerts a year where, you know, every other day you play and that's it.
Yeah.
That's, you have to build up to it and you play and you have to time your thing. And I don't play regularly like I used to play.
Yeah. So you can't fit it into the 20-minute lips there.
No.
You've got to find more than that.
Well, the thing for me is that I kind of learned, well, we have a point in common. We had to stop playing at some point, right? And for physical reasons, right? And then when you start again, you're quite wise after that. I don't know if it was like that for you, but you know, you go like, okay, maybe what do I need to do to be efficient to get from here to there? But for me, I don't know how it feels for you, but for me, the biggest thing is not to overdo it the first few days, you know? So let's say we have 3 weeks before the festival, 3-4 weeks before the festival. I say, okay, I got to be serious about this. So I start practicing, but the first 2 weeks, I only do basics, and just then I slur and I'm trying to find out this and the air, and I'm not to bite, not this and that, and just get everything in the machine like that. But if I do one day where it's going very well, because that's what happens, right? The first few days, oh, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
And then you destroy everything. You have to start all over again. Yeah. It's like, oh. And then it takes a long time because you have to undo what you did to start from zero again.
Yeah.
So you have to go from zero, you know, to whatever, 100, 0 to 100 gradually. Otherwise, you go back. Yeah. So you have to practice very wisely and just to make sure you don't overdo anything. Easier said than done. You know, when you have a good day, you want to do more a little bit. You remember what you did before, and you say, "Oh yeah, that's a good piece of," relax a little bit. So you have to control that. So that's that. And but I really wanted to do this one. How could I say it's not a time where I should, but I really wanted to do it in Canada.
Yeah. Well,
I went to participate with everybody.
It's the first ITF in Canada, so you had to be there.
I know. I really wanted to do it, so I'm very happy to do it too.
I don't know. When I've taken time off, my first day back, and like you say, I try and not do too much, but I always find that, well, I'll have a try and see how it feels. Yeah. And my range is ridiculous.
Oh, it's fantastic. Day number one.
Yeah.
We should do concerts all our day number one.
but then day two is just like, oh my God.
And 3 and 4 and 5.
Yeah. What's happened? Why was day one so good and then day two so bad?
Well, you're not ready and you're not injured, but a little bit. All your muscle and everything, because you know it's there, and of course the muscle memory. Oh yeah, it's great, but you don't have the endurance if you stop, right? So you just have to build it again. Big thing is endurance, you know. How could I say endurance? But that it also feels natural. You know, once you get to that point where you build more endurance, but it kind of stiff a little bit, and then you have to get more flexibility and make it feel more and more natural. And when it becomes, then you're kind of somewhere after that. Then you'll see where you are. I mean, might be there, might be here, but you won't be there, right?
Yeah.
But it depends how much time you have.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a sort of something I find challenging in my teaching at the conservatoire where I teach is how to prepare students for stamina, how to get the stamina for a recital. It's hard to teach because it's a real gradual, long process.
Yeah. And you know, one day, especially the few days before, I don't know how it is for you or your students, there must be a day where you pass your nerves. You know, there must be a time. For me, it's like 3 days before something like that. You're like, hey, nothing's working. It's except when you have a lot of concerts, right? Yeah. But now, you know, so many. So I'm like, and when you feel that day, make sure you don't overdo it, because then you're going to pay for it after that, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes, some days they feel, especially the students, I have less experience, everything goes well. Next day, everything goes bad. everything's like, say, stay calm. You know, the famous British thing, keep calm and carry on.
Keep calm, carry on. I like that.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Rath Custom Trombones. Rath Custom Trombones are bespoke modular instruments handcrafted to the highest of standards in England and played all over the world. Each Rath Custom Trombone is constructed by hand at the Rath Workshop in the north of England. Michael Rath trombones are found in almost every conceivable musical situation, in symphony orchestras and opera houses, in film and television studios, in pop and commercial music groups, as well as brass bands, wind bands, big bands, jazz and funk groups, and so many more genres and ensembles. Widely acknowledged as being amongst the best instruments available, many of the world's leading performers choose to play a Michael Rath trombone. Artists such as Mark Nightingale, Aubrey Logan, Carol Jarvis, Dennis Rollins, Brett Baker, and the Black Dyke Band are among the performers all over the world for whom Rath is their instrument of choice. Michael Rath trombones have earned their reputation for excellence because of their concept of flexibility, unique design, and the quality of their construction. What are you waiting for? Join the Rath Pack today. Go to rathtrombones.com or email info@rathtrombones.com to find out more.
Hello, ITF listeners. I am Warren Coos, brass product specialist with Antoine Courtois and BNS Meistersinger trombones. We're so proud to have been longtime partners and exhibitors with the International Trombone Festival. Fun fact, Antoine Courtois is known as one of the oldest manufacturers making modern brass instruments today. We work with top artists around the world to provide a unique and elegant sound for players. From our Legend series and Meistersinger orchestral trombones to the Extreme series jazz trombones, there is something for everyone. Be sure to check out our newest creation, Florida trombone, developed with Joel Vaiz of the Florida Orchestra. You can find our trombones available at any Antoine Courtois or BNS authorized dealer. To find a dealer near you or more information about these wonderful trombones, please visit our website.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Guard Bags. Guard Bags has 3 models of cut bell trombone bags on offer. Our 21C ESK model is designed to fit a cut bell tenor trombone. The 23C ESK bag fits a cut bell bass trombone. This year, we're introducing a new compact and slim bag for cut bell tenor trombone, the model 19C ESK. This bag has been designed in collaboration with Luke Malowitz, and of course all our bags are always on display at the ITF Exhibit Hall. Our trombone bags can be ordered through J. Landris Brass and Austin Custom Brass in the USA and Thomann in the EU. This podcast is brought to you by Woodwind Design. Woodwind Design's carbon stands for tenor, bass, and contrabass trombones built in the Netherlands are trusted by great musicians such as Ben van Dyke, Brent Attema, Joe Alessi, and current ITF president Carol Jarvis. The stands are very compact and lightweight, fitting inside the bell of the instrument and adding virtually no weight at all to the case. But more important, the protection of your instrument is excellent. 7 nesting carbon tubes plus the patented leaning design make a balanced and suspended stand with a large footprint, 4 feet and a low center of gravity. Visit woodwinddesign.com for more information. While you're at it, also check out our tablet and music stands that are at last high enough, as well as our solution for every musician's pain in the rear, chairs that are way too low and leaning back. The Dutch butt lift. Butt lift, because that's what it does. Dutch, not Brazilian. woodwinddesign.com.
If you're enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to hit the follow button so you don't miss each episode when it gets released. And also, you can meet these legends and heroes and all the rising stars in the trombone world if you come to an International Trombone Festival. Just head to internationaltrombonefestival.com to find out more. How do you see the future of orchestras and brass music evolving?
Brass players, especially trombone players, are so good.
It really
My
is, isn't it?
goodness, they're so good. I was practicing, we did a piece by Serge Fialto. We were doing a piece for 8 trombones, and all the top players, like a Toronto Symphony player, Montreal Symphony. I wanted to do a Canadian group, right? So I'm waiting for them. I mean, they were playing a concert. We arrived in the middle of a concert. We were waiting for them to finish the rehearsal, and I was listening to everybody rehearsing for the competition thing. I'm like, wow. It's like, wow. The only thing I was thinking is, thank God I'm not on the jury, because I'm going to be like Oprah. Everybody gets a prize. They look under their seat. They have
I love it.
So it's the level is incredible. Yeah. Now the problem is, what are you going to do with all of those great players? You know? And what have we done? And I should say, what have we done about natural selection? about players that, you can fabricate great players. The teaching is so incredible. Do we have enough orchestras for them? That's fine. My students, when I was in the conservatoire, because I thought about that, right? Because you want to teach super well, you student play well, and you don't really think about it. The conservatoire where I taught in Montreal, we had, how do you say, there was a limit of students, right? I could never have more than 7. And usually it's 5 or something like that. So contingency, they want to make sure that they place them, And but I always told them, I said, okay, think about what you like in music that's not orchestra. What do you like? The one opened a music school and he teaches there, and he's a very good administrator. One is a great arranger, composer, and now he does the arrangement for the Montreal Symphony. One is an actor. I mean, art is art. I mean, it opens you doors for you. And I think I remember when I was younger, it's either, are you like if you're a soloist and you play in the orchestra? Oh no, you're not trying to live the dream. You quit on it because you play in it. It's like, we are more than one facet. We're more than one thing. So I always tell my students, try to see what you like in life. You can do it all. I mean, so you don't need to be a real musician, to win a big position somewhere. You can make your own work. You can do all kinds of things, as long as it's genuine and something you really want to do. That you don't feel you're doing it because it didn't work out, or it's something you like.
Yeah, that is such good advice.
No, it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the world is your oyster as well, and you don't want to just... Closing doors is dangerous as well. You've got to open all the doors to see where you want to go.
Exactly, yeah, and because sometimes you open one and you never thought of that one. And that's the one, and then you love that, but you didn't even know it existed 2 minutes before.
And you don't know what is beyond that door and where that corridor goes. Yeah.
We're still in the game show kind of thing. Door number 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this is what you could have won. Well, just starting to round up, I'd love to know what is in the future for you. What projects have you got on the go?
Actually, I just finished a few recordings, right? We did the Jacques Concerto is out on Atma. I have a bunch of records on Atma that are out, but I have a jazz record coming out. We're doing a jazz record in October with a quartet. I cannot say who plays in the quartet, but it's a really all-star quartet. It's very, very nice. Wow. Yeah, and it's rare because nowadays we all make our own work, but I actually got called for this, and then they said, we'd like to make a record with you and with so and so and so, and I'm like, thank you. I was pinching myself. I was saying, great.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
The rest is the symphony seasons are going to start. So in Toledo, we have Bruckner 8 or 9. I can remember one of those to open. Then Symphony Fantastique, Mahler 6, 4 last songs, and Dead and Transfiguration with Angela Mead from the Met. Fantastic. So, and in Trois-Rivières, my orchestra, we have Bruckner 4 there, I think, and a bunch of other concerts. Anyway, it's busy. When the year starts, I have less time a little bit. But I still practice, still play. It's ready to go anytime. So when I have those little times, it's quality time. And besides that, I have my youngest daughter, who's 8. School will start again after this, so I'm going to take care of that.
I don't know how you find the time. I honestly don't.
Well, you know what? I will tell you one thing. For me, liberty comes from organization. That's the one thing I say to myself all the time. If you try to, because sometimes you look at your schedule, and if it's too organized, you look like you don't have any liberty. You're a slave to the page of the schedule that says that. But it's quite the contrary, because if you're really organized, then little times appear here and there, and you've done the work of scheduling everything you need to schedule. It's difficult. It's a big puzzle every year. But the more organized you are, the more free time appears.
That's so true. Yeah. And these days, I think in the day of AI, artificial intelligence, there are now sort of calendars and diaries that will reschedule all your things to find gaps for you. So which is terrifying, but...
Yeah. And, if you can... And, try, like everybody, I try to stay away from getting in the rabbit hole of researching and do this. And mind you, we're doing an interview now. But I do love podcasts, though. But all kinds of podcasts on history, especially, like Roman Empire. Because, we live right next to the empire, right, in Canada. Oh, yeah. So we have the first seat to see what's happening there. And it's a little scary sometimes. But, we'll see. But... just try to stay away as much as possible of things that are too distracting, but that's hard. That's hard because it's there and it's everywhere, right? You don't want to be a dinosaur either, so you want to be in the middle, and It's really difficult. I mean, I'm more on the dinosaur side, but it's not because I want to be. I have limited capacity.
But the world is so fast paced and digitized now. I mean, where is music going? Where are orchestras going to be in this world?
That's a very good question, but we need an entire other podcast for that.
We do,
because I think for me, flexibility is key. So the most flexibility you can have. I mean, we just renegotiated our collective bargaining agreement in Toledo. We signed an historic one. We had a huge pay raise because we're very behind other orchestras, and if musicians feel respected, but in exchange there needs some flexibility, because like just the world. If you take 2005 and 2025, everything is different, right? Like technology and all that. So what's going to be in 5-10 years? So you need the flexibility to be able to move and to help orchestras survive. I mean, it's important. Orchestras are very important because they're also a microcosm of society.
Yeah.
And that's a great, it's a great study to do. 100 people, 100 different opinions, 100 different egos, all competent, come together for a common goal to interpret a Beethoven symphony or something like that. And they come together and they make all the compromises that are necessary to make something that is meaningful for a public. And then something happens between the public and the orchestra. It's kind of osmosis that happens there. And they have a moment where the public, they take 2.5 hours of their day that they probably have jobs. Some of them like, some of them don't like. They run everywhere, like we're talking about. And then they say, there's a kind of communion that happens there.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important. And it only happens in live music. And it happens also a lot with symphony orchestras.
Yeah. That's such a beautiful analogy. It's like communal. Yeah.
True.
Thank you so much, Alain.
Oh, my pleasure.
Literally so wonderful to speak to you.
Thank you.
Alain Trudel, what an amazing man. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. Don't forget to go and hit that follow button to make sure you don't miss any episodes coming up. Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did, and we'll see you soon.
This podcast is brought to you by Butler Trombones. Butler Trombones is a Texas-based company known for designing and building trombones and trombone components using carbon fiber, a unique construction material in the world of brass instruments. Here's why Butler Trombones and their carbon fiber instruments stand out. They're ultra-lightweight. Carbon fiber construction significantly reduces the weight of the instrument compared to traditional brass, making them easier to hold and play for extended periods and potentially reducing fatigue and stress on the player's body. They're durable. Carbon fiber is a very strong and resilient material, offering enhanced durability compared to traditional brass instruments. The responsive and focused sound. Reviews consistently praise the instrument's responsiveness, clear articulation, and focused core sound. The variety of models and products. They offer a range of models catering to different needs and preferences, including small, medium, and large bore tenor trombones, like the C5, C6, C8, C9, and C10. They also offer their dual bore bass trombone C12, that is a game changer for the bass trombonist. Butler Trombones also offers customization options for all makes and models of trombone. Carbonize your horn with a new bell or slide to lighten the load. They also offer a wide range of products in their online store, including CF mutes, CF lead pipes, and maintenance products. Butler Trombones are handcrafted in Texas and are available at retailers and directly from their website. They are popular among professional musicians, educators, and those seeking to reduce physical strain while playing. You can find more information about Butler Trombones and their products at butlertrombones.com. Today's podcast is brought to you by Baltimore Brass. Baltimore Brass Company is the destination for all of your trombone needs. We deal in new and used instruments and accessories across all of the major manufacturers, and we have a great consignment program too. Not only that, we also have a repair shop on site with 3 brass techs. So, whether you're buying your dream horn, selling your used gear, or need a quick fix, visit us at Baltimore Brass Company. Our address is 99 Mellor Avenue, Catonsville, Maryland, or online at baltimorebrasscompany.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Band Geek. Hey trombone nerds, yes, you with the spit valve. Band Geek brand has your shirt game handled. From cheeky quotes to bold, brassy designs, we celebrate musical misfits, low brass legends, and slide rule breakers. Whether you're in the practice room or on stage, we've got the drip to match your lip. Find shirts, stickers, and more at etsy.com/shop/bandgeekbrand.